onto the lawn and mow and mulch it up.
Oh, that
And
makes,
it should get most of it, and if it doesn't, it will next time.
sense.
I might grab some of the bigger, I see they're more like a little sandwich, yard shoes. I'm starting to trash my jeans and buy some jeans. Goodwill. You need anything from Hanes?
No,
Okay. Some stuff I like, but I'm not $40 for.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Brianna, we set so far?
Mike, she's having a little trouble with sound. Let me go check on it just real quick.
It's okay. We got a couple minutes. I just want to make sure. All right.
Yeah. Brianna's going to dial in just right now, so just give it a minute and she'll be in.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm not sure if Trevor's on board yet. Maybe he's called in.
I'm here, Mike.
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. Okay, good.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you, Trevor. Good.
Okay. Good morning. This is Brianna Sampson. I'm helping Sharon out today. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And you're ready to go, Brianna?
Yes, I'm ready to go, Mike.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Tuesday, June 1st, Board of Control meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the June 1st, 2021 Board of Control meeting. Armin Budish or alternate Dale Miller?
Here,
Okay. Mike Chambers.
Here.
I'm sorry, alternate for Armin Budish. Nan Baker.
Here.
Pernell Jones. Alternate
Trevor
Trevor.
McElroy here serving as an alternate.
Gotcha. Mike Dever or alternate.
Here, it's Nicole English.
And Catherine Zakachik.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to, unless I hear otherwise, to review the minutes, approve the minutes from May 24th. Do I have a second?
Second.
I think I heard Lee, seconded by Lee Tucker. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone from the public wishes to speak, you may do so now. Okay, there is no public comment. Moving on to contracts and awards, please.
Sorry, Mike. I would like to call the roll for Lee Tucker,
Here.
alternate for fiscal officer. Gotcha.
Here.
Thank you.
Very good. Now we can move on to the new items then.
BC 2021-253, Department of Public Works recommended an award on purchase order number 21001785 to Ohio Cat in the amount not to exceed $136,873.08 for the purchase of one replacement Caterpillar mini hydraulic excavator.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This first item, we're looking for our award recommendation, Ohio Cat. It's a not to exceed dollar amount. It's for a replacement mini excavator. It'll replace an old aged one from our Road and Bridge Department. This was purchased through a joint government co-op purchase, Sourcewell, which was previously bid out.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Are there any questions from our board on this item? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Lee Tucker. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
BC 2021-254, Department of Development submitting an RFP exemption on RQ 6388 which will result in a payment to Greater Cleveland Partnership in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for communications, outreach, and operational support of Greater Cleveland Civic Connection Program for the period 6/1/2021 through December 31st, 2021. Recommending a payment on purchase order number 21001551 to Greater Cleveland Partnership in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for communications, outreach, and operational support of Greater Cleveland Civic Connection Program for the period of June 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
Yes, this is Kassan Bahor. I'm here for Paul Hardick, who couldn't make it today. This is it's our annual support payment to Cleveland Business Partnership on behalf of the Civic Connection Program. It's an annual payment of $25,000. And as mentioned, it is for communication, outreach, and support. We have a representative from this vendor to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Gassan. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
This is Nan Baker.
Yes.
I just want to thank whoever gave us the background of the GCP of what the amounts were over an annual time over years, and also what it is that we're getting with the 25,000 along with others that are contributing. So that was all good to know, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Mr. Chris Urban. He is on the call. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We definitely appreciate the county support.
Okay. Are there any additional questions from this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second Nan Baker.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
BC 2021-255, Department of Information Technology, recommending an award on RQ 5585 and enter into contract number 1431 with Brown Enterprise Solutions Incorporated, 12-2, in the amount not to exceed $88,866 for the renewal of 20 Tableau Creator licenses, 8 Tableau Server Core licenses, 2 Tableau Server Administration training courses and certification exams, and for the purchase of additional prorated licenses as needed for the period of May 26, 2021 through May 25, 2022.
Good morning, Janelle Green on behalf of the Department of IT. This is a purchase of the renewal licenses for our Tableau licenses. We did post this for an RFP with 2 vendors responding, and Brown Enterprises offered the lowest prices and the most comprehensive response. This is a shared purchase with IT and HHS in support of the licenses. These licenses run several reporting and dashboards that we run for both sides of the house, and we appreciate your consideration for approval today.
Thank you, Janelle. Are there questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
BC 2021-256, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an RFP exemption on RQ 6253, which will result in an award recommendation to Brown Enterprise Solutions Incorporation in the amount not to exceed $225,420 for the state contract purchase of 170 replacement HP G5 workstation. monitors, and related accessories for administrative staff. Then they're recommending an award on purchase order number 21001592 to Brown Enterprise Solutions Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $225,420 for a state contract purchase of 170 replacement HP G5 workstation, monitors, and related accessories for administrative staff.
Good morning. This is Priscilla Bottomley on behalf of the Juvenile Court. Yes, we are requesting an award to Brown Enterprise for the state term contracts of 170 workstations and monitors to replace our current aged workstations that are currently running on Windows 7. We did receive 4 quotes from the list of approved vendors on the HP state term contract and selected Brown Enterprise as they had the lowest and best price. This price is 19.5% less than standard pricing due to the state term contract.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
I have one question, Nan Baker.
Yeah. Please.
Given this is replacing 170 of your workstations, was this anticipated back a year ago or to put revenue aside to cover this cost? Or was this a surprise that we were going to be needing to replace these 170 replacements?
It is my understanding that they knew that the computers needed to be replaced. They've done them in pieces. We replaced the clerk's office previously, and now we have to replace the current ones as Windows 7 is no longer being supported by Microsoft.
If I may, is there any other purchases that you foresee that will continue in addition to these 170?
At this time, not that I'm aware of. I can check with our IT department to see and get back to you.
Okay, I guess just for scheduling or funding purposes, it would be good to know what your replacement costs are over the next couple of years, just so we can anticipate the funding that you're going to be needed.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.
So I also have a question. And at the end of your presentation, you talked about it being 19% less than some. I couldn't quite hear.
The standard pricing. Since HP has a state term contract, there's a selected amount of dealers that are on the HP contract, and the pricing that we got from Brown Enterprise is 19.5% less than a standard pricing if we didn't go with the state term schedule.
So is this a state term contract or is
yes,
it?
Yes, it's so Brown Enterprise is a dealer on HP's state term contract, and their price is less, 19.5% regular than a regular standard pricing from another supplier.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any final questions from the board? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second. Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
BC 2021-257, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Caseware Incorporation in the amount not to exceed $22,200 for the purchases of 8 user licenses for a data sharing platform for use by the Ohio Fusion Center Network for the period of April 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. Also recommending an award to enter into contract number 1352 to Caseware Incorporation in the amount not to exceed $22,200 for the purchase of 8 user licenses for a data sharing platform for use by the Ohio Fusion Center Network for the period of April 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022.
Good morning. This is Leslie White with the Department of Public Safety. Caseware is software currently utilized by the Northeast Ohio Regional Fusion Center to collect, store, and analyze data from requests made by law enforcement in Region 2. It also allows for sharing of information across the 3 fusion centers in Ohio. This contract allows for continuation of services, and the purchase is covered under the FY20 State Homeland Security Law Enforcement Grant. And this purchase has gone down to Ohio EMA and received their approval as well.
Thank you, Leslie. Are there questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, then I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Macular. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
BC 2021-258, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on RQ 4143 and enter into contract number 664 with TransUnion Risk and Alternative Data Solutions in the amount not to exceed $15,240 for online investigation software for the Northeast Ohio Regional Fusion Center for the period June 1st, 2021 through May 31st, 2023.
Procurement for this contract followed the informal bid process, and it's being awarded to the lowest bidder. TransUnion TLOXP will be utilized by the Northeast Ohio Regional Fusion Center to do background searches on persons of interest. The service also provides access to data that's not available through open source or through other law enforcement data sets.
Okay, thank you again, Leslie. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, then I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I think I got Miss Nicole English on that one. Seconded by Miss Nicole English. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
BC 2021-259, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Federal Resources Supply Company in the amount not to exceed $16,850 for a training course for county hazardous materials teams to migrate hazardous materials and chemicals in emergency situations for the period June 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2021. They're also recommended an award on contract number 1375 to Federal Resources Supply Company in the amount not to exceed $16,850 for a training course for county hazardous materials teams to mitigate hazardous materials and chemicals in emergency situations for the period of June 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2021.
The purpose of this course is to train emergency first responders to streamline the chemical research process, choose the appropriate meter or meters and protective equipment, and to operate safely in the hot zone based on the mission. The course is scheduled to take place next week, 6/8 through 6/10. And we're requesting an exemption on this one because the state approved this course under the FY21 CERC grant. And the training is offered exclusively by Federal Resources Supply Company.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Macular. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
BC 2021-260, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on RQ 3738 and enter into contract number 1124 with Michael Baker International in the amount not to exceed $87,500 for the development and update of the 2017 through 2022 all hazard mitigation plan for Cuyahoga County for the period of May 3rd, 2021 through January 10th, 2022.
Good morning. The procurement method for this project was formal RFP. The RFP closed on January 20th with 5 proposals submitted and scored, and we're moving forward with the lowest cost as well as the highest scoring proposal. This project will update the 2017 to 2022 all hazards mitigation plan for the county, and the county is required to update this mitigation plan every 5 years in order to maintain eligibility for the federal mitigation grant programs. The purpose of this plan is to identify hazards that can impact the county and establish strategies to mitigate the risk and vulnerabilities from them. So it will address hazards that are natural, technological, or man-made. And once updated, then all political jurisdictions in the county, including the county, must formally adopt the updated plan in order to maintain eligibility for the federal mitigation grant programs.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you very much.
BC 2021-261, Office of Medical Examiner, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Alere San Diego Incorporation DBA Immunoanalysis in the amount not to exceed $38,213.55 for the purchase of enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay reagents kits for the toxicology department, and they're also recommending an award on the purchase order number 2100-1803 for the same.
This is Mark Banza with the Medical Examiner Office. These ELISA kits are step number 1 in regards to our toxicology department screenings. These ELISA kits provide the positive signals as well as the drug confirmation screenings, which are also relayed through public health notices to the Ohio Department of Health. This RFP exemption is due to the contract lapsing that was from 2017 to 2020. Immunoanalysis provided the instrument, and we purchased the kits through the contract. And this order, RFP exemption, will cover the most recent order placed in 2021. And the toxicology department is meeting with the procurement department to establish a new contract moving forward.
Thank you, Mark. Are there questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Macular. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Now we're in exemptions. BC 2021-262, Department of Development, submitting an RFP exemption on RQ 6403, which will result in a payment to the Mount Sinai Healthcare Foundation fiscal agent in the amount not to exceed $800,000 for the operational support for the Lead Safe Cleveland Coalition for the period May 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
This is Kassan again. I think Mr. Matt Carroll will speak on Paul's behalf on this one. Is Matt on the call?
Hi, good morning. It's Matt Carroll from the County Executive's Office. This item was presented as part of the 2021 budget update in the fall of 2020, or around the time of the end of 2020. The Greater Cleveland Lead Coalition is a large group of activists and funders and others in Cleveland are trying to address lead poisoning in Cleveland. The city of Cleveland has an extensive strategy and ordinance and policy changes to support eliminating lead paint and the lead hazards in homes in Cleveland. The county has been asked, as has the state, as have many other funders, to support this effort. I'd say the prime thing that the county itself benefits from these funds, or from the existence of the coalition, is supporting workforce activities. There's a need to have certified lead abatement, both workers and contractors, to do a proper lead construction project in a home and an apartment. So there's a scarcity of those kinds of workers, that kind of expertise. So the coalition will support an increased number of jobs in this area, which will help individuals looking for jobs, but also help serve those people that need this work done. The benefit for the county is that the coalition has a resource center members community outside.
Sorry, Mr. Carroll, you're breaking up.
City, and allows you to call and get information about the resources. Can you, Kassan, I think we have a representative from the coalition as well. Is that right?
Yes, we do. We have a team that's here.
So be happy to answer any questions and that they would as well.
Okay, thank you.
Carroll. Oh, were you able to hear that, Mike?
But I'll let the board decide. Thank you, Matt. Are there questions from the board on this item?
So yes, this is Dale, and I am fully aware of how serious the lead paint problem is in the city of Cleveland, and appreciate all the efforts that are being made. But I know that there are also very serious lead problems in Lakewood, in my district, and I'm sure that the same is true, particularly in a lot of the other inner ring suburbs. And my question is, what can be done, and what are we planning to do to bring the same level of effort to the other communities in the county that need this assistance?
Councilman, it's Matt Carroll. I'll start if you all can hear me, and ask the coalition to speak as well. This activity was really driven by the ordinance in Cleveland and a lot of the policy changes they put in place. Say the coalition is very open to helping another community do the same. I think there are a couple of inner ring suburbs that are looking at this. I think Cleveland Heights has had a lot of research and consideration of this kind of opportunity. I mean, there does have to be kind of municipal action to get activity going, but I know the coalition is, if they haven't already, they're willing to be supportive of those kinds of efforts.
Yeah, we have Emily Langard here from the coalition, if she can direct us to answer this question.
Absolutely. This is Emily Langard with Enterprise Community Partners here today on behalf of the Lead Safe Cleveland Coalition. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Kassan. Thanks, members of the board, for these questions. We're really honored and thrilled to have the county's support in this way. I'm joined today actually with a few other coalition leaders. Enterprise facilitates the coalition, but we really truly are a collective. So I'm joined today with Mitch Bulk and Dan Cohn of the Mount Sinai Healthcare Foundation. They're not only a leader of the coalition, but acting as our fiscal agent, and also joined by Marcia Egbert of the George Gooden Foundation, who's another coalition leader. So if I've missed anything here, Dan, Mitch, Marcia, I'm sure you'll add. But just to add to what Matt already shared on this point, absolutely, the coalition is looking for other opportunities to take the kind of carrot and stick approach we've been working on in the city of Cleveland and apply it elsewhere. We've had some conversations with the city of Lakewood and the city of Cleveland Heights. Would really welcome the opportunity to have further conversations and really sit down with any other community interested. To underscore what Matt shared about the work we'll be doing outside of the city of Cleveland, especially with the county support here, we'll be training lead safe workers from all across the county. So this is really training and career development to meet the need for lead remediation inspectors and contractors in our community. The Resource Center also runs a lead safe hotline, which is available really for any residents across the county to learn about lead poisoning and, more importantly, get directed to resources. And then the third piece that we'll be able to execute with our county support here is that the Lead Safe Resource Center can do community education, trainings, events. Those can really be throughout our community. So we're already planning to do that, and we'd really love to do more, like we said. If there's any community in your districts, please do reach out to us. We'd love to sit down and have a conversation about kind of this carrot and stick approach, how we can have a pretty thorough, extensive policy to require lead safety, but then pair that with the resources that the coalition is able to provide.
Are there additional questions from the board on this item?
Yes, I have a question, if I may.
Sure, Councilwoman Baker.
I'm reading through the background answers that were given, and when do we actually have the hands-on in the homes, removal of paint, and make it a safe environment? I see a lot of educating and phone touch points, training, but I don't, for $4 million over the next 5 years with 800,000 being asked right now, when do we actually see when does the paint actually get removed? This isn't, you're not really an organization that gets into the homes. You're an organization that just raises the awareness. Is that what I'm reading?
Councilmember, this is Emily Longard again. No, absolutely, we do lead remediation. To give a little bit of background, the coalition has launched what we call a Lead Safe Home Fund. It's a $99.4 million fund over 5 years. So the county investment today that we're discussing is $800,000 of that $99.4 million. The $99.4 million supports the Resource Center, the metrics you have in front of you today, where the county support would be focused. But the Lead Safe Home Fund also supports really $80 million of lead safe home repair work in the city of Cleveland. That comes in both loans and grants form. So yes, absolutely, we are doing lead safe home repair work, both the inspections and remediation at length. We would really welcome the opportunity to do that in additional communities that we find that it can be difficult to do it on a voluntary basis. And having a policy, really a requirement in place to achieve that lead safety, and then helping property owners with loans and grants to achieve that lead safety. That is really sort of the sort of secret to success. We're seeing that working really well here in Cleveland, and we've seen that work in other communities where we've seen the policy and resources in place and really replicated their model here in Cleveland.
Thank you. That's good to hear. The 80 million that's will be available in loans and grants. Is there a percentage of what Cuyahoga County would be receiving, and maybe specifically our inner ring suburbs or Cleveland? Do you have that broken down as to, what communities get what percentage once they're engaged in this $4 million lead safety program?
Yeah, I'll start us here, and then I'll actually ask Marcia Egbert, who's the chair of the coalition's Resource Development Committee, to share additional detail here. our $99.4 million budget, and in particular, the 80 million of that is based on the need and demand in the city of Cleveland. I think we'd be really open and interested to revisit the demand and need for additional communities, but based on the roughly 110,000 rental units in the city of Cleveland and the fact that 90% of those are built before 1978, the year that lead paint was outlawed, so presumed to have lead paint in them, we know the demand is quite high. We also know that that's the area of highest incidence of lead poisoning. So again, a lot of resources are needed. We know that in the city of Lakewood, East Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, and a number of their first ring suburbs, the need and demand could also be quite high. But we would want to make sure we really kind of assess and analyze that needs. I'm going to hand it over to Marcia, who can speak more to how we came to that $99.4 million number and sort of the demand we see in the city of Cleveland.
Sure. Thank you so much, Emily, and good morning, council member and members of the Board of Control. Thank you for that question. We did what we know to be the deepest data dive that's been done in our community around really working towards deciphering the scale of the challenge in the city of Cleveland. So we worked for months with a team from CASE's Center on Urban Poverty and Community Development to go deep into really a multitude of data sources that resulted in the numbers that Emily just shared with you in terms of the scale of the need, not only the scale of the need in the city of Cleveland, which we knew was going to be the county hotspot proportionally, but also where, with drill down even further into the neighborhoods and areas within the city. And so that data dive, we are happy to talk through with any of the members and around any of your communities around how to do that assessment. And then once we had that down to the likely number, which in the city of Cleveland worked out to be around 25,000 households or rental units that we anticipated would be needed through this particular initiative in terms of remediation. And we also had the team look at the average cost of remediation, so these lead safe practices, and that came in the neighborhood of around $3,500 per unit or per home, whatever the type of housing unit was. And again, that could be broken down as well. And there's, as you might guess, a range. So some remediation units are going to cost substantially less, some a bit more, but a solid average based on the data was coming in actually just a little under that $3,500 figure. So we were multiplying that by the 25,000 unit figure to get to where you have the 5-year fund development plan. And so that methodology, I mean, we are so fortunate in this community that we have the partners, really solid public-private partners on data analysis to be able to do that kind of discernment. And so, as Emily said previously, we'd be so happy to work with other communities to get to the point where we can bring the same kind of confident analysis to you for your other communities as well. So as I said, council member, we are very happy to have that conversation with you or any of the elected officials in your district that would be interested in going through that process. And our job will be to figure out how to help underwrite that. So that's where we are today. And I really appreciate the question because none of us wants to stop at the city of Cleveland. It's just the largest, most urgent, most populous level of need, of course, but certainly not the only one.
May I follow up, Chair?
Sure, please. Yeah.
So now that we know that it is specifically City of Cleveland and not East Cleveland or Lakewood or other communities, this is specifically targeted for Cleveland, which I certainly understand the need, and I'm glad that there's attention given to this. It's an important problem we need to overcome. What is the contribution from Cleveland? What is the city of Cleveland contributing towards this? If our contribution's $800,000 per year?
Yeah, so thank you, Council Member, for the question. The city's initial contribution to date has been $5 million. And that came through their transfer agreement process at the end of calendar year 2020. And so that was terrific. It was really an anchor investment that, of course, we've wanted to sort of share far and wide because everybody wants to know the same question in terms of how are the partners that are going to benefit from this contributing. So I think we've shared the breakdown of investments to date. Really thrilled with how the state partnership is coming along. But on each of these, we're testing this model. We're building out the infrastructure. It's an enormous turning of the ship towards a primary prevention method. We're working through, we expect, and we've already done this. We've tweaked the plan along the way. We're learning as we go. We really believe that we will have developed as both a sustainable and a replicable model through this first number of years. And we'll also, frankly, be looking to see where we can come back for second round funding if necessary, or as we expand out to other geographies. But the short and precise answer to your question is $5 million in this first set of investments.
And if I may, so that $5 million is for 5 years. They're not coming back with another $5 million next year.
Well, the city budgets, much like the county, although not biennially like the county, in terms of what can be obligated year by year. And so we know we're also going to be going through some substantial transition at the city. So I feel it's like sort of my duty as the resource development chair to say, we obviously hope to return to the city of Cleveland with an additional ask in all likelihood, but we had to move through that first year process and get those dollars nailed down for that initial investment. So that's where we are.
All right,
Marcia,
if I may share, just real quickly, for clarification, we're approving today an RFP exemption, but this is going to be given to one of our committees. Am I understanding that correctly?
My understanding, we're approving the exemption for them to go this route, and then when they come back for the actual award, it should be referred to committee because it's over $500,000.
Right, good.
That's
okay,
right.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for your work on this. It's important. I'm glad to see we're moving forward. Just curious to know more of the details, but thank you.
Of course. We'd love to have that, to spend that time with you, Council Member.
Thanks. I'll wait for committee to expand.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you.
Mr. Mackler, did you have a follow-up, sir?
Mr. Chair, and Emily or Marcia, I think Matt Carroll mentioned that the state of Ohio is put in money into this. Just curious, how much did they put in?
I'll kick us off actually, and then hand it over to you, Marcia. There's one point of clarification I wanted to share. Councilwoman Baker, that the metrics you have in front of you are in fact metrics to serve the entire county. That is why you have a slice of what the Lead Safe Home Fund will do and not metrics for the loans and grants in the city of Cleveland we just discussed. The workforce training, the call center, those are things that we absolutely want to provide to every county resident. So that is why you have sort of a slice there, but we really wanted to underscore that there are in fact services and programs beyond the city of Cleveland. Those are really being led by the resource center function of the Lead Safe Home Fund. On the public sector investment, Marcia's really been leading the way. We already have an investment of $2 million. It was actually the first seed investment into the Lead Safe Home Fund from the state of Ohio. And we are currently working on a second $2 million investment in the currently discussed state budget. So I'll hand it over to you, to Marcia, to share more on that.
Thanks, Emily. I'll be very brief. We, of course, are keeping a close eye on the state's process. Absolutely want to share that we have worked closely with Senator Matt Dolan, who we are so fortunate is sitting in that seat of chair of the Senate Finance Committee. He has been a true champion on this work for us, as has Senator Nikki Antonio on the Senate side. So we are bird dogging where it is at the moment. So far, we'll knock on wood, it's moving well. Sometimes being a little quiet works just fine, and that's sort of where we are at the moment. But staying in touch with those offices, and happy to say that there's just so much more familiarity with the dramatic need for lead remediation work statewide through the governor's recent committee on lead that a number of us had the opportunity to sit on, and the investments that the governor put in his introduced version of the budget that remain in through the process so far, that complement the direct financial investment. So expansion of Medicaid support, expansion for early intervention services, important policy components that really marry up with the financial investment. But so far, the additional $2 million has been moving very well, and with great support through the state's process.
Marcia, just as follow up to that, is the state's 2 million, is that only eligible to be used within the city of Cleveland, or can that be used countywide?
Thanks very much for the question. Thus far, it's been targeted toward the uses in Cleveland. There's also additional dollars. The state, for the first time so far in the budget process, is kicking off a direct investment in a lead-safe housing fund. So sounds very familiar. And this would be the first GRF, state GRF dollars that would be going towards a broader statewide lead-safe housing fund. So we absolutely think there's an opportunity there. We're obviously very supportive of that new investment, that provision. We wanted to stay in, of course, through the rest of the debate on the budget, and that would offer an opportunity, we think, for more of our communities, and that we want to continue to grow that state investment, that state housing fund over the years. And let me ask my colleagues if there's anything that they would like to add or clarify to that. If not, we'd love to stay in touch, Mr. McAleer, to when that, I'm going to be optimistic, and so far so good, when that new housing fund is approved through the state biennial budget, we absolutely are going to be staying very close to whether there's a rulemaking process or it will be through the Department of Health, how those dollars can now be available more broadly, and we absolutely want our communities to be applying for them.
If I may, Chair, just make a comment. When we're talking about rental housing, we're talking about really a business of renting a house and getting rent for that house. It seems we've known about this lead problem for how many years and years and years. And it would seem to me that before we allow those houses to be rented, or any kind of rental units, there's 110 of them, was said earlier, hard to believe that we can't mandate that safety requirement be done. I mean, what does it take to test paint to see whether or not it contains lead, and then have it remediated and repainted? It seems like a huge program for something that we've had a problem for many years. And we're talking about not just individual homeowners, but we're talking about rental homes, which is, in my opinion, a business. And we shouldn't allow them to continue as a business if they're unsafe to occupy. That's just a comment. When we get into committee, I'll be able to hear more, but thank you for allowing me to say that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just have one kind of follow-up question from Councilwoman Baker's earlier questions. If East Cleveland or Cleveland Heights or Lakewood, if their council passes legislation and does what Cleveland did, is the county's 800,000 or hopefully 4 million over 5 years, will those dollars be available to those cities, or is this money strictly for Cleveland?
Thank you, Mr. Mackler, for the question. The $800,000 is specifically set aside for the Resource Center. That's been our understanding. And so that would be for the metrics you have in front of you, and that absolutely would be available to every kind of community and within the county. So again, that's workforce training, that is the Lead Safe hotline, and that is Lead 101 or general community education. That is for this 2021 contract. We would absolutely be willing to talk about sort of the future pieces of the award with you all. The way we have viewed it though today, and our understanding is that it's focused on the Resource Center, which can be used across the county.
Okay. Any final questions from the board?
Just if I may, Chair. So from the beginning, the very first question I asked was the 800,000 that we're being asked to approve as an RFP exemption is really only going towards education, training, hotlines. It's really not, none of it is going towards any kind of hands-on remediation for lead paint that we find in homes. That's not part of what we're asking for today. This is all an educational. $4 million over the next 5 years is all based on education and training and hotlines and things. Is that I think that was my original question. Is that the case?
If I may, Councilwoman, it's Matt Carroll. The county support would be to support the overall project. So everything that the Lead Coalition is doing. And then, we highlighted a couple of things that actually would support activities outside the city of Cleveland. I would say in the contract or in the details, we can specify exactly how we want to identify, how our funds are going to be used. And that can be covered in the council hearing as well. But in general, the funds were to go to the coalition to support all activities. That was the underlying theory.
Okay. All right.
Matt, if I may there follow up, I don't think that's what the material we received says. So I think we should probably just get clarification for the council when it comes forward, because it looks like the backup material specifically only says the Lead Safe Resource Center, not everything.
Right.
So
do they mention workforce, Trevor? I don't have them in front of me. Do they mention the workforce part of it?
I think it was in here, Matt, in the advanced questions and answers that we got. Yes, it's in there. I just don't think it goes towards actual removal of the paint or of the lead paint. That's what, according to the backup material that we got.
Right, and again, I think it's more how we want to, how specific we want to be in the award language. So, I mean, that's I think that is up to us to specify that.
Okay, Trevor, any final questions? Good? Okay.
I'm good. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. At this time, then I'm going to make a motion to approve the item. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
BC 2021-263, Sheriff's Department requests an authority to amend board approval number BC 2020-49, dated February 1st, 2021, which amended prior board approvals on various dates and authorized an alternative procurement process resulting in various purchase orders and award recommendations to various providers in a total amount not to exceed $600,000 for emergency off-site medical services for inmates for the period of January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2021 to add Donald Martins and Sons Ambulance Service Incorporation, effective June 1st, 2021. No additional funds required.
This is Laura Sims from the Sheriff's Office. We just got some invoice in for the Donald Martin and Sons ambulance service. As you can see, it isn't on the current provider list. So in order for us to pay the invoice for that service, we need to add it to the list of approved providers for payment.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Moving on to today's consent agenda.
BC 2021 -264 through 266.
Board members, feel free to speak if you have any questions on any of the items. Do we need more time or are we ready to go? Okay. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. At this time, we have no other business, so we're moving on to public comment. If anyone from the public wishes to speak, you may do so at this time.
No public comment.
Okay, there is no public comment. Therefore, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second, Miller.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.